Hey guys, it's Kelly Shalal, registered dietitian and personal trainer behind the blog Hungry Hobby. Today I have a post going up about supplements and what you should know about them. This is when I teach at a local community college, we spend over 2 to 3 hours talking about supplements. It's absolutely one of the favorite labs of the entire semester, and many times I'm talking to clients about them as well. There's a lot of misnomers about supplements and just a lot of information that you should really know. And the blog post came out to be over 1,000 words, and I know that not everyone is going to have the time to meticulously read that blog post. So I wanted to jump in here and try to condense 2 to 3 hours worth of information into just a few minutes so that hopefully you understand them better. Both, people have a lot of fear about supplements, and I want to remove that fear, but I also want you to know, where you should focus your energy on, time on. Just be more comfortable with supplements and make smarter decisions is really the goal. So, number one, what is a supplement? So a supplement it could be a powder, a capsule, a liquid, a drink. Supplements come in all kinds of forms these days. Vitamins, minerals, herbs, fatty acids, enzymes, antioxidants, polyphenols, protein concentrates. So yes, your whey protein, your vegan protein powders, your collagen supplements, those are all considered supplements. Amino acids, probiotics, prebiotics, fiber, and like a million other products. So there are a lot of things that fall into the supplementation category, some more researched than others. But we're going to get into, different areas and where you need to pay attention. Before I get into anything, I want you to hear me when I say food first. Food first. There is nothing that is more well absorbed in your body than food. Okay? There's two aspects to that. One, let's take an apple as an example. An apple has over 50 beneficial compounds in it that could be broken into supplements. Vitamins, minerals, polyphenols, antioxidants, etc. Fiber, prebiotic in it, in the apple skin. Prebiotic fiber and other types of compounds that could be concentrated. Those work synergistically to not only help absorption, but also to promote health overall when you eat the apple. Nutrients are always best absorbed from food. I used to tell my students that I was pro-supplement until it came to my attention that they thought that meant like supplements first. And that is never my intention. With my clients, with my students, with my audience, people reading Hungry Hobby, I want you to know that food is the best approach first. So please hear me when I say no supplement should be considered if your diet, exercise, lifestyle are not, in a good place first. If we're not living a healthy lifestyle first. Supplements are in an addition, okay? So, before we even dive into anything, just know you need to eat healthy. You need to eat 7 to 9 servings of plant-based foods a day. You need to eat lean proteins. You need to do all of those things that we know are healthy before you consider supplements. Okay, so we'll move past that. But let's talk a little bit about the research, because I find that people are in two camps with supplements. One, they're like terrified of them and they just think, okay, if supplements were real, if they even helped, my doctor would prescribe them. My doctor would tell me about them if supplements really did help. Fair enough. And then there are people in the other camp that are like, medicine is evil. I'm going to take all the supplements. Like, it's what's going to heal me, fix me, like only natural, only this. Like, supplements are the best. The only way to go. I want to kind of bring it back to the middle here. Now, if you're in the camp where you're terrified of supplements, you have reason to be. We're going to go through some of the reasons why supplements can be dangerous and why you're scared. But I want you to consider this. Those of you that are resistant to trying certain things that are recommended by a dietitian or some health professional that you really, really trust, and we're going to get through who you should take your recommendations from too, so hang on. But those of you that are a little resistant to this, I want you to consider this. So, for example, turmeric is a supplement that I often recommend to my clients who have some sort of joint pain, okay, osteoarthritis, etc., or chronic pain. Not all the time, but sometimes. It can interact with blood thinners, so it has an interaction. It can thin your blood, so it's not good for everyone. So, but it is something that I recommend. Why? Because research shows that it may be as effective, if not more so effective, than NSAIDs. Now, the studies are poor, small, and not really designed very well. And why? Because if company A pours in tons of research, like the multi-million-dollar amount of research that is required to create a drug, because drugs are considered unsafe until proven safe. And so they have to have double-blind, placebo-controlled studies, which are what we consider the gold standard in medical research. They have to have those studies for their drug to be approved. So if company A, who manufactures turmeric, or the curcumin, which is the active component of turmeric, pours in multi-billion dollars of research that's required to produce that gold standard and really track the long-term side effects and really do all of that, they cannot patent curcumin. They might be able to patent a special blend, blah, 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 like multiple supplements, but they cannot patent that one component because it is a naturally derived product. And so they pour in their $1 million of research and they find, lo and behold, it is as effective as NSAIDs. It is wonderful. It doesn't have as many side effects. It's great. Wonder drug, okay? CBD of our time, whatever. And so they put in all this research, and you know what happens? Company B, C, D, and the rest of the industry utilize that research, take it to run with it, and now company A is out of business because they poured in billions of dollars of research, and the rest of the industry has taken that research and sold their products with it. I think this is one of the reasons we don't have as much research around food sensitivity testing as well, because companies are already making the money for it. If they put in the research, nothing stops them from other companies stealing it. So it's kind of a weird thing. Now, I'm not saying that the lack of research, and that's a good reason for the lack of research, because it's not. Our research comes from either publicly funded, university studies, etc., or very small privately funded studies. And both either A, are small and poorly designed, or B, are privately funded and then you have conflict of interest. So that is the reason for the lack of research. And because of the lack of research, that is the reason why your doctor most likely does not prescribe or recommend these things unless they have done separate trainings, are comfortable with it, are a holistic type doctor, etc. Okay? So if you're in the camp that you're like, supplements don't work, none of them work, which many of them don't, I'll give you that. But if you just are resistant to any kind of recommendation because you think everything is snake oil, understand the politics and the reasons why we don't necessarily have the best research. It doesn't mean that things aren't necessarily beneficial, but it's unfortunate that we don't necessarily have the best research. Now, what I look at and what many dietitians look at is something called a meta-analysis. So we take all those small, somewhat poorly designed studies, and we try to draw a conclusion from multiple studies at a time. So we're not just looking at one tiny study and being like, oh, this helps, so let's take that extract and recommend it to everyone. No. And that is why, one of the reasons why it is so incredibly important that you work with a trusted health professional when it comes to supplement recommendations, and I'm going to get there. But just know that if you're in that camp, supplements do have their place. The reason your doctor isn't recommending is because A, they don't know a lot about them, and B, the way the research is and the lack of it, it's just not there. So, but that doesn't mean they're not beneficial, and that doesn't mean that every single supplement is scary. Now, those of you on the other side of the camp that are like, I take only supplements, I do not want to take medicine, no, absolutely not. Please know that there are some issues with supplements. And if you're that into it, you probably already know that you need to highly research the companies that you choose to purchase from, because supplements are not regulated. So here's the difference. Supplements are considered safe until proven unsafe. So you have a safe till proven unsafe, Totally self-regulated, multi-billion-dollar industry. What could go wrong there, right? I remember going to a talk at the Food and Nutrition Conference in 2014. It was the first FNCE I'd ever been to as a dietitian, which is like our big dietitian conference. And I don't remember the exact percentages, but I remember that in a few protein powders that this secondary agency had tested, there was only like 3% protein in the protein powders. Like, can you imagine, for those of you that drink protein shakes, like you drink your protein shake and you think it has 25 grams of protein and it has 3. Like, what else was in it? I don't know. But a self-regulated industry, and there's so many companies out there, it can be super, super sketch. Okay, so for those of you that are on this supernatural side and only natural, please, please, please pay attention to where you're purchasing your products from. Okay. So in the supplement industry, there's no systematic way to report side effects or interactions, and so we really have to monitor that as well. And we have a lot of potentially unknown interactions, and oftentimes there could be snake oil, because just because we see something happen in a lab with a mouse does not mean that that's what's happening in a human body. And so if our supplements are mice-oriented, we don't know the interactions. We don't know what's happening with that. We don't know if the mechanism even works the same. So, I won't go into examples there, but just keep that in mind, okay? Medicines, on the other hand, are extremely heavily regulated, which is why they require a multi-billion-dollar research to go into producing a medicine that your doctor will prescribe. Now, common misconception, sometimes medicines are synthetically derived more often than not, but sometimes they are naturally derived. I mean, I think it's like for knocking people out for surgery, one of the first things that we did that with was like some naturally ingredient from the jungle. Okay, so medicine does use naturally derived ingredients, so don't think that they don't. Don't think that everything that the lines are not so clear there. The thing about medicine, traditional medicine, is that your doctor puts you on X for migraines, it puts you on X for, I don't know, whatever example you want to use. The side effects can be very intense. Although we know them, in the medical industry, we've done the research on these medicines and we know what the side effects are. They aren't always clearly communicated to the patient. Okay, I have been on medicines. In fact, I was on a high-dose anti-inflammatory for my back, which had, unbeknownst to me, very, very significant impacts on my hormone health. Very significant impacts. And it contributed to, was not the only factor, but it contributed to 5 years of amenorrhea. So, supplements have medicine has very intense side effects, and it's not always clearly communicated with the patient, and we've all seen the commercials. Did you take blah, blah, blah? Because if you did, you may be entitled to a multi-billion-dollar suit on this company, right? We all have seen the commercials. We know that although FDA will tell you that medicine is safe because they've proven it, it's not always. And we don't know how an individual is going to react to it. So that might be a reason why someone wants to steer more towards a naturally derived supplement. Problem with that is we don't always know the long-term effects of even a naturally derived supplement because we don't have studies, right? So when I use supplements, for instance, like a cholesterol-lowering supplement because a client desires not to be on cholesterol-lowering medicine because of the side effects or the long-term damage that it could cause, I intend for them to be on that for 3 to 6 months. Things like red yeast extract, etc. 3 to 6 months in part of a diet and lifestyle strategy. And then I intend to re-review those supplements with that client and discuss the positive and negative. So if you get a recommendation from a health professional, you need to continue to follow up because those recommendations and what you should be on long term and what you shouldn't may change. And you, based on the medication that you're currently on, based on your age, based on the condition, etc. There are a lot of reasons why we would change that. So understand when you get the recommendation how long you should be taking those things for, what the intent is there, and continue to follow up. Okay? So we've talked about some of the benefits. Supplements can be used sometimes in place of medicine, sometimes to fill in nutrient gaps. Okay, now the most widely accepted are multi-mineral and multivitamin complex. Now, there's pros and cons to that, and I don't want to go into like specifics of every different type of supplement. I just kind of want to do a supplement overview. But things like a multivitamin, multi-mineral complex can fill in nutrient gaps, right? So our diets aren't always the best. You know, I say I'm a registered dietitian, and I think my diet is like pretty good. Like, I think I eat healthy a lot. But A, I'm breastfeeding, and that requires a lot of nutrients. B, I'm still working on, you know, the last few pounds of weight loss when it comes to post-baby weight loss. Yay! And that might mean that I'm under-eating my calories just a little bit, so I'm not getting the full amount of nutrients that I need. And so maybe a multivitamin kind of hits those weak spots. We don't all eat 7 to 9 servings of vegetables a day. I mean, there's just a lot of reasons why you might take things like a fish oil or a vitamin or a probiotic. Those are the ones I recommend the most. So where I was going with that was that basically they can fill in nutrient gaps. And so there are levels of acceptability versus not. You know, whey protein, collagen, those are assumed to be pretty safe. Vitamin and mineral supplements are assumed to be pretty safe, but you should review those types of things with a dietitian. And I do think that they have big benefits to them, and I do recommend them, but I want you to know that you should be reviewing those things with a health professional. Do not self-diagnose. Now, when I say health professional, I might anger some people with what I'm about to say, but I think it's important. If you ask your doctor, your standard run-of-the-mill GP, I love my GP, but I don't think he knows as much about supplements as I do, okay? And they just don't have the time to review supplements when they're not well trained in them. They might miss an interaction, okay? So although you should let your doctor know what type of supplements you're taking, you should not rely on him to understand the safety of the supplement, okay? Naturopaths. Here's the other end of the spectrum. I've worked with several naturopaths in my life, both professionally and personally, and they range in the spectrum of what they'll recommend, but there are some that will recommend supplements to you that have very, very small studies and not a lot of research. They'll be like, yes, this X supplement is great. It will help you with whatever, Y. Okay, I don't even want to use examples. And when I go to look up the research on that, it's like there was one study done 20 years ago on 6 people. No, that's not okay. So you need to be very careful with your recommendations from naturopathic doctors. Again, there are good ones out there who only look at, you know, really good research. They only look at, well, I shouldn't say really good because oftentimes we don't have really great research, but at least they look at meta-analysis or look for more than one study, multiple people, not on animals, on humans, etc. Okay? So not my favorite place to get recommendations unless you want to spend $1 billion. Nutritionists, well, sometimes they have like a 2-day cert, so probably don't know a lot about supplements other than what they've researched themselves. And, you know, I've just run into issues with nutritionists where they're just very snobby about synthetic versus natural types of ingredients. For instance, I remember looking for my husband's grandma a multivitamin supplement. And I know that she had a lot of GI issues, and so I wanted it to be synthetically derived hypoallergenic multivitamin. Okay, so that means no broccoli powder, no spinach powder, nothing like that that would hurt her stomach. And there was a nutritionist at the place that I went to that made a comment about synthetic multivitamins and synthetic supplements, and just thought that I was just terrible for recommending that. Well, she wasn't looking at the whole picture, and that just irritates me. So nutritionists, be careful about getting your recommendations there. I don't think they have enough training science training. Okay, a lot of them have 2-year certifications that are pretty good. Not as good as a dietitian certification, but decent. And, but in that 2 years, they're learning a lot about nutrition, but they're not getting the science background that's going to allow them to interpret the research and stay on top of it. That's all there is to it. So not my recommended place to get recommendations. Now, wellness consultants, I don't know what that is, but that's not a regulated term, so don't get your advice from there. Don't get your advice from the kid from GNC. Don't get your advice from the vitamin stalker person at the natural food store, okay? Not good places. Where do you think I want you to get your information? Dietitians, of course, but I will say that dietitians do not have, as part of our standard training, nutrition, supplement-related training. You know, very basic. About what I'm telling you now is about what we get in our training. Personally, I had a whole year working in the supplement and fitness industry where I learned a ton about supplements and fitness. And I saw the inner workings of it. I saw the sales piece of it. I saw I learned the nutrition piece of it, the research piece of it, etc. And so I was trained in that. And there are dietitians out there who have gotten secondary training on supplements and are more comfortable recommending them. But your dietitian has to stay on top of the research because it's constantly changing and there's constantly new studies coming out. And so you need to be confident that your dietitian is not making a recommendation from 20 years ago. Many of us are staying on top of the research, and we actually have the biochem, the OChem, the science background in order to understand the research when it comes out and interpret it for you correctly versus someone like a nutritionist who does not have the science background, most likely does not have the science background to interpret those types of things. Or a doctor who has the science background but doesn't have the time, or a naturopath who has both the science background and the time but is maybe making too much money off the supplements, okay? So you just need to understand those pieces. And if you're getting recommendations for your personal trainer outside of hey, drink a protein shake, that's way outside their scope of practice, unless they happen to be a personal trainer / RD, which I think I know that there's 20 of us, so that I know of. Okay, maybe there's 100 in the US. So, I mean, come on. So, be careful who you get these recommendations from. So hopefully this video has kind of either scared you totally away from supplements or made you more comfortable, but I think the point of what I'm trying to say is that supplements do have their place. I have seen them be extremely effective in my practice at helping clients either fill in nutrient gaps, improve GI health, lower cholesterol, improve health conditions in combination with diet and exercise. I stay on top of the research. I'm able to recommend these things because I'm constantly looking at the research and I'm looking at the whole picture. What other vitamins and medications is the client taking? Will what I'm about to recommend interact with it? There are a lot of interactions out there, and I thought about listing them in this post and I decided not to because this isn't where you should be relying on that. You should be relying on a well-rounded recommendation that looks at your diet, lifestyle, exercise, current medications, and other supplements that you might be taking. You shouldn't be researching it on your own online, okay? So I'm not even going to list the potential interactions, but know that they are there. So hopefully this helps you know that you should, consider supplements if they are recommended to you by someone that you trust. You should stay on top of knowing how long that supplement is intended for you to take, why you're taking it. I often ask my clients, why are you taking that? They don't know. If you don't know why you're taking something, stop taking it. Stop. Or if you're I think it might have helped and you don't remember where you got it or what friend or person told you to take it, stop taking it until further notice. And that you should have high quality companies. And that's another part of my job as a dietitian is to know which companies are reputable and are undergo independent third-party testing and provide the results as public. That's another part of my job is to recommend those supplement companies that I believe are holding the industry to the highest possible standard because not everyone is. If you buy your supplements at the dollar store, it's like the recent CBD thing. You see that CBD everywhere, right? Well, there's lots of independent studies that have gone let's grab this CBD from here and this CBD from there and this CBD product from there. And the stuff at the gas station has literally 0% CBD in it, okay? If you don't know what I'm talking about, it's fine. You probably live under a bridge if you've never seen CBD at this point. I saw it at the checkout at the grocery store the other day, so I'm pretty sure it's everywhere. So, potency, snake oil, That stuff is out there. Celebrities endorsing it, that stuff is out there. So you need to be extremely careful with what you take. Know why you're taking it and get it from a trusted professional and a trusted company. And then it can be a beneficial part of your lifestyle and exercise and diet changes, or just leading the healthy lifestyle. So if you have questions, let me know. I'd love to see in the comments what supplements you take and why you take them, and what your experience has been. So hope you have a wonderful day, and hopefully this video, I got through like 2 hours of info in 25 minutes. Hopefully this video helps decrease some of the length of the post that I wrote, but you can always go back and refer to the post that I wrote today. This video will be embedded there and on social media, YouTube, etc. So have a wonderful day, guys. Thanks so much.